Okay, we are now live streaming on YouTube. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So we are continuing today with Shri Brahma Samhita, Chapter 5, Verse 7. Mayaya ramamanasya naviyogastaya saha atmana ramaya reme tyaktakadam sasrikshaya. Mahavishnu never consorts with the external energy or Maya. Still, it cannot be said that Maya is entirely separated or divorced from that aspect of the supreme reality. Mahavishnu consorts with his own personal potency, Ramadevi. Whenever he desires to create the universe, Bhagavan activates his time potency and casts his glance toward the inert material energy. So there's a lot to unpack here, and we will go through the Tika translation of the Tika by Srila Jiva Goswami first, and then there is Tatparya by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So creating the universe is not the duty of Swayam Bhagavan, but the responsibility of the expansion of his expansion in the form of the Purusha avatar. In this task, the relationship of the Purusha avatar with the inert material energy is not direct, but indirect. Bhagavan's direct relationship is with his personal energy, Ramadevi. The external potency is not permanently manifest because she enters into the Purusha avatar at the time of the cosmic annihilation. The Purusha avatar causes Maya to perform her duties of creation and so on by inspiring her through the agency of his time potency. That is the only contact he has with her. If you have any questions at any point, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We are going to talk about this a little bit, kind of one paragraph at a time. It is a little bit of a complex topic, but it's worth understanding. Um, the contact is only indirect, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 85th chapter of the 10th canto. Yasyam sham sham shabhagena. The creation, maintenance, and destruction of the mundane universe is accomplished by the Purusha avatar, who is an expansion of his expansion. So there's a couple of really important things to note here. This is a type of lila. It is called a Strishti lila. And this is not done by Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna. It is his expansion. So Mahasankarshan, as Srila Jiva Goswami is about to explain, Mahasankarshan comes from Narayan. So from Narayan comes Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And this Mahasankarshan, from him come Mahavishnu, who is also called Karano Dakshayi Vishnu or Karanarnavashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. These are the three Purusha avatars. Now, another important point here that is being mentioned is that at the time of annihilation, so as will be explained later in Brahma Samhita, for one breath of Mahavishnu, this is the equivalent of a lifetime of Brahmaji. So think about that for a second. The lifetime of Brahmaji is about 4 quadrillion years. Okay, one day of Brahmaji is 8 billion 640 million years. That's the length of 24 hours of Brahmaji, one day plus one night. And Brahmaji is living for 100 years composed of such days. So his lifetime is about 4 quadrillion of our tiny little ant-like years that we think are so long, but they are just nothing, not even a blink of an eye. And that entire lifetime of Brahmaji is one breath of Mahavishnu. When Mahavishnu exhales, universes are coming from the pores of his body. He is entering as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Brahmaji is coming from his navel. Our universe is one of the smaller ones. Brahmaji has only 4 heads. The creation is done. And at on the inhaling breath, all of the universes enter again back into the form of Mahavishnu. So this is the scale that we're talking about, the scale of time, the scale of space. It is a little hard to comprehend, but this is exactly what we're talking about. Now, there's an interesting point that comes up here. Um, Guru Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he made many statements that devotees were sometimes confused when he was present on this earth doing his Acharya Leela, whether it is said that the jiva has come from the spiritual world or whether the jiva is, always conditioned, because some statements were not entirely clear. Later in his books, he made it very clear, unless it is the desire of the Lord for some lila, no one falls from Vaikuntha. What to speak of Golok Vrindavan? Um, but in 1974, one devotee, Jagadish, wrote Srila Prabhupada a letter asking about this because of some other letters he had written. And Srila Prabhupada wrote a very enlightening reply, because Srila Prabhupada had said, originally we were with Krishna in his sport, which led many people to think, oh, we were with Krishna in Krishna's Leela. And so Jagadish asked about this, and Prabhupada explained. He said, that Leela is the Srishti Leela of Mahavishnu. So yes, we were with Mahavishnu. We were within the abdomen of Mahavishnu. And then we came in this world in so many forms. But this is describing the nature of the Anadi Baddha Jiva, the Jiva who has been entangled in the material world since time immemorial. It is not describing someone who was a blade of grass or a cowherd boy or a gopi and who became envious of Krishna. Some people are actually saying this very offensive idea, um, because they're very attached to their own mental speculation. But this can never be true. It would be very offensive, because the Maya that allows the living entity to think of himself as the Purush, the enjoyer and controller, has no entry into the spiritual world. And it is also described here that Maya, the external energy, also enters into Mahavishnu, because Shakti Matvar Abheda. Bhagavan and his Shakti. Bhagavan is Shaktiman, the wielder of all potencies. And his potencies, Rama Devi, and the external energy, who takes the form of Durga, she is also non-different from him. She enters into him at the time of annihilation. Her Leela is temporary. Her action of being the external energy, this only happens. Now, it is also said, and this is another thing, how the Purusha avatar causes Maya to perform her duties of creation by inspiring her through his Kala Shakti, or time potency. Time, Nacha Kala Vikrama. This is in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no action of time in Vaikuntha. There's only present. There is no past, present, future. There's only the present. This is also a difficult thing to understand. And how there can be Leela, which is Ashtakaliya Leela, because Yogamaya has created these different changing environments. And even the Ritu, these seasons, sometimes it is the Sharat season, according to Leela, not according to time, because time as we think of it does not exist in the spiritual world. Time flows forward and we look at time backwards, but there is no such flow of time in the spiritual world. This is a difficult thing to understand, but we have to just accept that the time that rules our lives, that says we have a duration of life that begins here and it ends here, this is a construct by Bhagavan's Kala Shakti for the purpose of this material world. So anyway, getting back to this controversy, and then this was Gurudev was explaining that someone who thinks that if our Srila Prabhupada came only for the purpose of doing the Yuga Dharma, Yagya Sankirtana Parayaya Yajanti Hitsumedasa. This is describing the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga. Kirtan is the Yuga Dharma, Sankirtan. This is very good. Of course, the Yuga Dharma is something that is necessary, but this is normally done by Gora Narayan, the Narayan avatar who comes and propagates the Yuga Dharma. And so Srila Gurudev had said, if someone is saying that your Srila Prabhupada came only for giving Yuga Dharma, they are saying that he came from Mahavishnu. No, this is not. He did not come from Mahavishnu. Gurudev said he came from Goloka Vrindavan. So that is an interesting question. Let's address that. So what kind of personal relationship, and what's the relationship between Bhagavan and his personal energy, Ramadevi? Ramadevi is serving him. Okay, so she is present and she is serving him, but it is not like the Vaikuntha Lila, where there is, because Mahavishnu is lying in Yoga Nidra. So he is lying in the causal ocean. Ramadevi is there with him and she is serving him. She serves him, and Durga Devi, the external energy, acts as her dasi, her maidservant. So this is not like a lila where it is a Vaibhav Vilas. It is a lila of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. So Ramadevi's relationship is personal. She is carrying out the itcha, or the desire, and she is inspiring Durgaji to carry out the itcha of Bhagavan. So there is a connection there. But it is not like the Leela where Lakshmi Ji is with Narayan in the Vaikuntha, or Lakshmi Ji is with Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and massaging his lotus feet. It is a bit different. But yeah, let's move on. If you have more questions at the end, then we can do that. So there may be a doubt. If the living entities become attached to Maya, so does Bhagavan also become engrossed in Maya in the same way and cease to be the Lord? This is a specific doubt that comes from Mayavadis, of course. The Mayavadis give the example of the sky or space within different pots, and they say that the concept of embodiment is false. It is Maya. And they offensively think that when Bhagavan comes, he is coming and taking on a body. And this is not true. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Atma Mayaya, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. I manifest myself. Krishna manifests his original form. He manifests his dham. It is all done by the agency of Yoga Maya. And so This Srila Jiva Goswami is explaining Atmana Ramayare Me. Bhagavan consorts with his own personal intrinsic potency, Ramadevi. So Bhagavan is not attached to Maya, nor is he subject to its control. At the same time, Navayogas Tayasaha. He's not completely disconnected. The connection is there by his Icha Shakti, by his Kala Shakti, and by his personal potency, Ramadevi. Then Maya is doing her job. So this is completely different from the living entities who are bound by the results of their karma. He is served by the external potency in the external quarter, meaning the ekapad vibhuti in the material world, and by the intrinsic internal potency, Shri Ramadevi, in the internal realm. And that is the purport that has been given. So Ramadevi is serving Mahavishnu, but it is an internal pastime. It is not externally visible. It is not something that we will have darshan of. And we have been with Mahavishnu. We have been within Mahavishnu. We have come from Mahavishnu, and we will again enter into Mahavishnu unless we get out of this material world. That is basically what is going on. So there's also prayers of Brahmaji in Srimad Bhagavatam. Esha prapanna varado ramayatma shaktya yad yat karishyati grihita gunavatara. O Bhagavan, you bestow benedictions upon the living entities who are unconditionally surrendered to you. In order to manifest varieties of pastimes in the universe composed of 5 gross elements, you descend along with your internal potency. And this is also supported by Sri Arjun's statement in Srimad Bhagavatam. Mayam vyudasya chaktya kaivalyestata atmani. O Bhagavan, you are the transcendental controller and enjoyer. You are beyond the material nature, and you are the master of existence. Therefore, you are immutable. That is, you are not attached to Maya. You keep the external potency far distant by the influence of your intrinsic internal potency, and you remain situated exclusively in your own intrinsic nature. So even Bhagavan is not coming in contact, and the material energy, external energy, stays behind him. She is also ashamed, but she has a service to do, and her service is to provide it is like the VR dungeon that the Buddha Jeeves are put into, who cannot decide at the point of their creation that they want to take shelter of internal potency. So they enter into something like a Maya world, a Maya Nagari. You know the story of Naraji. So Narada Muni once came to see Bhagavan Narayan. And Naraji, Bhagavan Narayan asked Narad Muni, he said, Oh, Narada, I am so happy to see you, my dear friend. How are you? And Narada said, Prabhu, by your grace, I have conquered over Maya. And momentarily, Narayan smiled. And in that moment, an entire Maya Nagari, an entire universe was created, illusory universe. And Naraji, who is a Parikar, was put in that universe. And he saw that he was coming down to earth from the sky. And he saw that there was a very big, beautiful palace. And on the roof of that palace, there was a princess, and she was playing with a ball. And her waist was very small, her breasts were large. She was so exceedingly beautiful. Immediately, he was enchanted by her beauty, and he was watching her as he was descending, and he fell in love completely. He forgot everything, that I am Narada Muni, I am the servant of Bhagavan, I am a brahmachari. He only thought, I am in love with this princess. And as he came down, he saw that there was a grand procession of people entering this grand palace. And so he went along with them and he sat, and there was a sabha, and it was the swayamvar of this princess. She was waiting with a garland to garland the victor. And so many big kings and kshatriyas were there. But this Narada Muni had been given the face of a monkey. And he was sitting and wondering why everyone is laughing at me. They are making faces and smiling. And so he got up wanting to ask this princess to choose him, to marry him. But just at that time, Bhagavan Vishnu came swooping in through the gates of the palace, riding on the back of Garudaji, and he came right up to the princess, and immediately, because of course this was Lakshmi Ji herself, she garlanded Bhagavan Vishnu and accepted him as her husband. And then someone pointed to Narad, oh, look in the mirror, and he saw he had a very ugly monkey face. And then he was very angry. He cursed Bhagavan Vishnu. He said, I curse you that you will be separated from your beloved wife, and you will have to take the help of monkeys to get her back. Immediately, like a soap bubble, poof, the whole illusion vanished. And Narada Muni was standing before Narayan, realizing he had just given curse to his Prabhu. He said, oh, I am so sorry. What have I done? Narayan smiled. He said, no, that is okay. It was arrangement for my Leela. So Naradaji was put in the place to make the arrangements so that Bhagavan Narayan will come as the Leela avatar, Shri Ram, and be separated from Lakshmi Ji, Sita, and have to defeat the demon king Ravan with the help of an army of monkeys. So this is the nature of the material world, and it is all being done. It is being done under the direction and guidance of Bhagavan, so that the living entities will uh, not who want to be separate will finally come to the conclusion that their only place is under the shelter of Swarup Shakti. So if now still Srila Jiva Goswami has he has already crushed this concept that is it possible that Bhagavan is influenced by Maya? No, he wants to grind it into powder and then blow the powder away. So further argument has been given. If we accept this conclusion, how does creation take place without being activated by him? In answer to this question, it is said, Sasrikshaya, when Bhagavan desires to create. Sasrikshaya is a desiderative, it means desiring to create. He activates his time potency through which he agitates the material nature. Material existence takes place by the influence of this time potency, which is the light of Bhagavan's bodily luster. So the time potency is one of the rays of the effulgence of the form of Bhagavan, and it is the time factor, Kala Shakti, which activates the dull nature, Prakriti, and begins the process of creation as described in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, teachings of Devahuti Putra Kapiladev, Sankhya philosophy. The constitutional nature of time has been described thus. Prabhavam paurusham prahu kalameke yato bhayam. All remain in a state of fear of this Purusha's influence in the form of time. Why are we always afraid of time? Time is running out. Every day we wake up and the body is getting older. What does it mean when the body is getting older? There is a sign that death is coming. And death will come for us at any time. We should be prepared. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Recently, our very dear godbrother, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj, left this world. And he took this very seriously. He knew that, okay, death can come. I will be serious. I'm going to chant 1 lakh rounds. I will only speak Harikatha. I will not engage in any Gramikatha. I will serve my Gurudev. I will try to help other devotees in always being inspired. So, Jai Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj, certainly Gurudev has called him to continue serving him. So, one can find a detailed analysis of the influence of time. Kalarityatu mayayam gunamayam adhokshajaha purushenatma bhutena viryam adhatta viryavan. Bhagavan Vishnu is the Purush who is beyond material sense perception and who is replete with spiritual potency. By his time potency, he agitates the material energy, which consists of the modes of material nature, and then sows the seed of the cause of creation in Maya through the medium of his partial manifestation. So Bhagavan does not even have to directly take any, he doesn't have to lift a finger. All of the actions are carried out by his potencies. So the first Purusha avatar of Adhokshaja Bhagavan is Kananadakshayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu, who glances toward Maya from a distance. By the influence of this glance, Bhagavan impregnates Maya with potency in the form of Jiva Shakti, which is a semblance of Chit Shakti, the living entities who, as a result of fruitive activities performed in ignorance, had merged into the unmanifest material nature at the time of the cosmic annihilation, are sent again into the field of fruitive activities at the time of creation and made to enter Maya. So this is part of the Srishti Lila. The jivas who resided within Mahavishnu during the creation, because they have already merged into material nature previously. Now they have remained within Mahavishnu, and now again they are injected within the material nature. So the universe appears as a result of the combination of Maya Shakti and Jiva Shakti. Shastra also confirms that although Jiva Shakti, who is the knower of the field of his own activities, is superior to the material energy, Kshetragyakya tata para. The Jiva Shakti is also superior to material energy, but is subordinate to Maya on account of entering into Maya. So it is like Maya is the dungeon master. And the jiva has said, "Oh, look, I like that dungeon." You know, there is a joke once that stupid joke, but someone died and they went to heaven and they met Saint Peter, and Saint Peter said, "Oh, look, you have done in such a balance of good and bad activities. You could choose if you want to go to heaven or hell." So he said, I want to see them first and then I'll decide. So he showed him heaven, and it was the Christian idea of heaven and, angels in white robes singing in choirs and playing harps. And he said, "Oh, yeah, this is nice, but a little bland. Let me see hell." He went to hell, and there was this party going on, and people were playing music and having a really good time. And there was a really cool DJ there. And he said, I think I actually like hell better. So he went, boom, he was there at the gates of hell. Everything was burning. There were the souls, tormented souls screaming, and the devil was there to greet him. And he said, "What happened to the party and everything?" And the devil said, "Oh, that was just a demo. It was just a demo." So that's the nature of Maya. The Jiva has said, "Oh, wow, the Maya looks so good. It looks so good, so delicious. I want to enjoy. I can enjoy this. I would love to enjoy." And Maya is saying, "Oh, all you have to do is if you say you want to be apart from Krishna, if you have not been to be with Krishna, but you want to be the enjoyer, you want to be the controller, come on, come on, this is the place." And then once you're in, boom, The doors have closed. You're in the prison, and I am the dungeon master. And these are the rules. You can try to accumulate and go to the Swargalok, and then you will again fall down to the world, material world, and then you can go down to animal species and really suffer. And this is something that the jiva has done voluntarily. Bhagavan has not forced the jiva to make this choice. So the jiva shakti, the jivas, because the jivas have voluntarily accepted the covering of Maya, they have accepted the subordinate position. There is, Krishna says, Devi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tanantite. My Maya is Daivi. It is divine, and nobody can overcome it. Only by surrendering unto me, then I will help them. So Purush is that one who glances towards the predominated material nature, and that is how the Purusha has impregnated the unmanifest material nature with seed potency in the form of the living entities. So this is referring to the Srishti Lila, which is taking place on every breath of Mahavishnu. Oh, Mahavishnu has been doing this since when? Well, since time immemorial. And how many breaths of Mahavishnu, meaning how many lifetimes of Brahmaji, have we as conditioned souls been present in this world? Oh, there is no count. There is no count. We don't have a limit on how long Mahavishnu has been doing this for. This is called Anadi Kala, beginningless time. Now we have the Tatparya of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhagavan Sri Krishna has no direct connection with the illusory potency. His contact with Maya is only indirect. This is a very important idea. And again, it is kind of a complex idea to understand the Shakti Tattva, because this is all part of Shakti Tattva, how the vritti of Maya Shakti is taking place, right? So in the form of Karanadaksha Vishnu, Mahavishnu, the Purusha avatar, he glances toward Maya. This form is a plenary portion of Mahasankarshan, who resides in the seat of pastimes known as Vaikuntha. Even in this act of glancing, he has no association with Maya. This is very important. So even the act of glancing, this is not associating with Maya. It is done by his desire. Ramadevi, who is his Chit Shakti, carries out the function of his glance as his inseparable potency. Remember, we keep saying this, Shakti, Shakti Mator Abheda. There is no separation between Shakti and Shaktiman. They have only separated for the purpose of pastimes and for different vrittis. So the external potency renders service to the personal expansion of Bhagavan as he sports with Rama Devi. So she acts in the capacity of Rama Devi's maidservant. So the external potency acts as the maidservant of Rama Devi. Mahavishnu is in Yoga Nidra and he is consorting with Ramadevi, his internal potency. The function of time is simply Ramadevi's power of cause and effect. In other words, only Kalapurusha, the personified time factor, unites with the inert material energy, with the result that the universe composed of 5 elements emerges. Thus, that Kalapurusha, or the influence by which the cosmic creation, maintenance, and destruction take place, is the wish of Bhagavan. So everything is taking place, and the Vedas all refer to this. Sa aikshata. He glanced. This is a statement from the Vedas. How he has desired to create, how he has desired to do his glance. But he doesn't have to work like going to a 9 to 5 job. Oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. Like making bread, I have to knead the dough and let it rise and then put it in the oven and take it out and slice it and do so many things. No, no, no. Mahavishnu has his internal energy. Rama Devi is herself inspiring Maya Shakti to become activated through the Kala Shakti. So this is all happening under the direction and desire of Bhagavan. So there is a lot to digest here. It is not an easy topic, but we go through these topics of Tattva Siddhant so that we can realize something. We look at our place in this material world and we understand, I have made one mistake, which is that I have thought that this place, I have gone to the demo of hell and thinking that it will be very nice. And now I realize it is actually hell. Without Bhagavan, without Bhagavan's pure devotees, there is nothing in this world that can bring any happiness. And it is temporary. This world is temporary, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, and it is full of misery. So we want to rectify this mistake. And when we understand the material energy is acting under the direction of Bhagavan, then we understand there's nothing about this world that is actually unfavorable for bhajan. There is nothing that can stop the flow of pure bhakti. But the only thing that is stopping us is our own lack of desire, our own lack of greed and eagerness to be reunited with the divine couple in loving service in Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, so any questions still? And this is a good time to talk about questions. If you want to unmute and ask, you can do that.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Yeah, it's like you said, very complicated. And even though the words say something, I don't have a picture of what's really happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see, I guess it's just a matter of if the Jiva will ever really understand what's in Brahma Samhita, it'll just be in some other birth for me. But in the meantime, when we say like there's no impediment to devotional service, and devotional service entails following the spiritual master's instructions, and then like your body is so painful that you can't even stand up and do all the things it takes just to do the morning program sometimes, not all the time, but I mean, like, how do we understand that we're supposed to follow, we have to follow, and then there it seems to be that's an impediment. The body is saying, I will hurt you if you stand this way,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, that's a good question, really. And it comes to the bottom of the answer. The foundation is one thing. What is pure devotional service? So there is a certain approach that says, oh, devotional service means that there has to be service, there has to be some action, we have to do something. Actually, it means that we have to give our heart, we have to give our love, our desiring everything. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. And everything is done favorably for pleasing Krishna. Oh, I want to, if I am able to chant, I will chant. I can chant loudly, I can chant quietly, but I want to chant the names of my beloved. Evam brata swapriyanama kirtya jata anurago drutachitta ucce. It is describing in Srimad Bhagavatam, we follow a vow to chant the names of our beloved. Evam Brita Swapriya Nama Kirtya. And this is in the beginning stages of sadhana bhakti. And as we move forward in sadhana bhakti, what happens? Our greed or desire within the heart becomes thicker. And as we develop in bhakti, our attachment, it is the pain doesn't go away. The body will always be a source of pain, but the attachment becomes less. We begin to identify less, and we are able to focus more on what can I do that will be pleasing to Sri Krishna. And it's not about following a particular routine, and sometimes we may be not able to do anything other than chant. If we can chant and we can chant one lakh, and maybe we can't even chant one lakh, but we can chant something, and we should do something, and we have to do something, and we shouldn't worry about what's the quantity of the things I'm doing. Maybe we're physically not able even to get out of bed, but we can go and wash our hands and mouth and begin to chant. The time when Haridas Thakur felt that it is time for me to leave the world is when he had become so old, his body had become old and sick to the point where he was no longer able to chant so many lakhs, not just one lakh, but more than one lakh of names every day. So really, we want to get free from the concept of I have to do this and do that and do the other thing. Because what's really important is that we have to love Radha and Krishna. We have to love Gurudev. We have to love the process of how I will get a chance to serve in Goloka Vrindavan and be very one-pointed in this. So Harinam is very kind, and Harinam can give us everything. But, we are misfortune is that we are not able to focus on asking Harinam for the one thing that will solve all of our problems. So really, that is pure bhakti. Many other ideas are propagated nowadays about what we should do, and oh, we have to do this and do that and the other. But it is also said, Smartavya satatam Vishnur vismartavya najatuchit sarve vidinishedhasyur etayor eva kinkara. There's two rules. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Every other rule and regulation is the servant of these two. And that is why also we take shelter of the Acharya. The Acharya has adjusted rules for us according to our time and circumstance. And still, sometimes we are unable even to do that. But it gives us something to try for, right? So we still, maybe I am becoming very old. Maybe I am unable to get out of bed. And it used to be that I would get up and I would bathe Thakurji and cook Vaikalik Bhog and offer everything. And maybe I am just barely able to get out of bed, wash my hands and mouth, and I will offer some water and a tulsi leaf. And I say, Hare Krishna, oh, please, Radha Govinda, please forgive me. I am unable to. And we can shed some tears and think, I want to be with you. I want to serve you. I want to serve your Palyadasi and be in the spiritual abode. And by that, this is the meaning of ahaituki apratihata. You cannot stop this. This is the thing that is the essential nature of bhakti. Even if the body gives us so many problems, gives us torment, we are still able to chant. Even sometimes we may have some difficulty in being able to sit up and chant. We will chant lying down. We will chant somehow or other. We can chant on our fingers. We can chant in any circumstance. And in chanting, our whole goal is to, oh, how I can be in your service. I want to be in your loving service. I want to give you loving service under the guidance of Guru Saki. So it is really a big topic, and I think it also kind of addresses a current uh, issue that sometimes is present nowadays, where we think in terms of, okay, I have to do this and that as if it's a job. Actually, we have to learn to love Krishna. That is the whole thing. That is our
Yeah.
whole aspiration.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
All right. Hari Hari Bol. Go to Hari Bol.